Today on What Went Wrong, we offended you, and we were damn proud of it. Hi, I'm Brett Mauser, and I've made over 40 feature films and a few series, and one of the ones I'm most proud of are War Dawgz, which was just originally made just because I was bored one day and didn't have any actors in town, so I had to call people to get their lines recorded because I couldn't bring anybody into town. I didn't have any money if I did to make a movie, but I did have a bunch of Legos. And what turned into just a stupid little what was just originally a little 5-minute short film turned into this 4-season anthology. And there are very, very few films that I have never completed. And I can name them on one hand. There was one that was done in 1995, which was actually shot on 16mm film, and I was just never able to get it developed, and then eventually I just gave up. I kept it in my fridge for years, thinking I would get it developed, and I never did. By that time, there was only like one place in the world that could develop the film, and it just kind of went, all right, it's time to give up the ghost on that one. And then there was one, the Memoirs of a Werewolf, which I started shooting with Scott Neth in 2003, 2004-ish, and then out of the blue he decided to move to Nebraska in the middle of shooting, so I was never able to finish that movie. Outside of that, there have been no films that I haven't been able to finish. Yeah. And I started season 4 of War Dawgz back in 2015. Right. And I got through about half of them. And then, probably not even half, I think we did maybe 4 or 5 episodes. Yeah. And then life just caught up to me. I started shooting Benders, and then this, and then that happened, and then I moved, and I did this, and then that happened. And I was always one of those things that, I'll get to this eventually. Yeah. Because I had all the voiceovers except for Sergio, and then eventually I got Sergio's, and then like just 2 years ago, I wound up not really liking the performance of the girl who originally did Princess.
I knew this guy one time. He had like the most cutest smile.
And I always thought this was so much funnier if somebody else was in this. And we were able to. This was like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. Dane Berkshire redid the audio, or just did the new versions of Princess, because I had the old actress in those, but I never really liked it. And then she just hit it out of the park, especially with like Neth's Nookie episode was just so freaking hilarious.
That was awesome.
Oh, Neth, that was amazing.
If we haven't offended you in any of our other films, watch War Dawgz and we will offend you somehow, some way, some manner.
Sorry, I can't help it. I'm a woman and I have an opinion.
Of course you do. It's so cute when they try to think for themselves, aren't they, Neth?
In that you will get upset and offended.
Hopefully.
And if you are not offended at some point in that show, then you are not human. I've offended myself, and I wrote the damn series. Yeah. Some viewers are confused and would like to know if you are German or French.
General Mayhem, you have recently been criticized.
What the was that? Wait a minute, didn't anyone see that?
See what?
And then Frenchie just killed that guy because he was Jewish.
Well, he's German. It's what they do.
But it is something that I'm very proud of because of that, because we go balls to the wall, all out, just nothing is off limits. And it is so fun to sit down and record with you guys. It can't, there are aspects of it that I don't enjoy. Just like the original way of syncing the lips, but now we've got a program that I just drop it in and it syncs it all up. And
that makes it so much
better.
Easier.
Oh yeah, no more frame by frame.
The heads move. I saw that.
Yeah. So that's gotten a lot better. But from an actor standpoint, it's got to be surreal for you because you're not even in the same room with these people. Yeah. These are things that you're just over at my place one time. Hey, say these lines.
I would like to introduce a very important part of the upcoming mission. Corporal Lothar and Ensign Vish.
Well, you started saying it, and I was like, do I need to come do War Dawgz lines? He's like, no, you did them. You've already done them. I was like, when did I do them? About 5-6 years ago? I was like, oh. I was watching the thing. I was like, I don't remember this at all. You know, and I'm pretty good at remembering stuff. And I'm like, I don't know when the fuck I did this.
Wow.
Oh, Ned.
Good God, son. Is Commander Neth getting nookie?
Okay, I remember saying that. I don't remember that at all. Is that me? I can't. It has. Well, who else would it be? Oh my God! You know. That happens to me. And when I was watching one of the ones, I was like, wow. Yeah, because it's been 6 years.
Yeah.
Hello, oh, cheery ho, and all of that.
And I don't know how it slipped by that long. It was
Yeah.
just one of those things. It was one project after another.
Yeah.
And life happened, and then I got another job, and this and that. And it's one of those things that you have to kind of mentally prepare yourself for because there's so much work in the animation aspect of it.
Yeah.
That it was always like, well, I'll get to it eventually.
I'll go to it. I'll do it later. I'll do it later.
So, War Dogs, tell me your experience as it evolved. I mean, you were in it from the beginning,
Yeah.
really.
Admiral, this is an unexpected visit.
Hold on a minute.
I'm a general, sir.
Of course you are.
May I take your helmet, sir?
Oh, no, thank you. I like the way my voice sounds inside of it.
So,
Well,
how did this grow, and how did this happen for you?
You showed me the first. You sent me because I wasn't in the very first thing. I don't think
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right because we didn't bring Admiral Price in
until later. And
you were probably in Germany or in the military, or you were.
I was in flight
training.
school.
That's probably you were doing something.
I was in flight school. I was in Florida, and then you said, "Well, we were going to do this thing," and so I just called you. You called me, and I says, "Okay, so I mean, when do you want me to come? I'm going to be here for a while, but I'm supposed to be coming back in Texas for whatever Christmas or whatever." And you're like, "No, well, you can just do it on the phone." I was like, "On the phone?"
And that's one of the reasons that it was, that it took place in space.
And you said, "We'll see," because the guys are wearing a headset.
Well, would you look at that? It was not broken after all. Good news, everybody. I will be joining you after all. Wonderful.
What was going on? Well, then, of course, you started putting them together, and they were hilarious. They were so funny. And then season 2 comes along. And
I think that's when I first started recording them with people.
See, because what happened was I had been with that other airline for about a year and a half, and then they were going out of business when I got furloughed, and so I ended up getting that job over at Pinnacle Airlines, where I had to go down to Fort Lauderdale for some training. And the day or two before I was supposed to leave, you come to the house, and you had one of these little thingies, and you gave me the lines, and you record. You had your video recorder, like, okay, just go ahead. And so I started reading all these lines and doing all this stuff. And then like 2 days later, I went to Florida and then went to Memphis and then was flying. Well, when I was in training, you started putting out the new episode. Well, the problem was I was watching them one day on the computer because this is before iPhones, so you had to watch it on the computer. And you sent it while I was watching it. Well, someone came up behind me. He's like, "The hell is that?" And then they recognized the voice. Is that you?
Oh, it's easy to make a small fortune in aviation. You start with a large fortune.
No. Well, then they went and told somebody else. Well, eventually, the whole class is quoting War Dogs. In fact, there were 2 guys, Bob and Art. They were off in the training department. Well, Art loved War Dogs so much. He's like, "When's the next one coming out? When's the next one?" He would bug me every day. "Your buddy Brett's a genius. When's this that?" And so he comes in one day, singing the song. You know the song I'm talking about.
Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda.
Waltzing Matilda. He starts singing, and I'm like, in class. We're all sitting there in our uniforms. He's like, waltzing Matilda. Oh, God damn it. So War Dogs was a hit with the Northwest Airlink pilot group there in Memphis. I had no idea what to expect. I've always had a good time doing the voiceovers. And then in 2007, I think it was, the elections were coming up. Mm-hmm. And then we went just bat shit crazy. It got completely out of control.
I would like to announce my candidacy for the president of the Alliance.
That's when Froggy really took the forefront.
When
Froggy was able to start giving his Froggy rants, because he ran for president.
Yes, he did.
He ran for president.
And Admiral Frenchie was his vice president.
You're a moron. God, that is the most vicious inconsiderate thing I've ever heard.
Why am I here?
And the vice president, believe me, the vice presidential debate made quite the stir.
We did not care about. I mean, the more offensive it was, the better we felt about it.
Captain Nat,
Yeah, good to be here. How are you doing?
have you ever f***ed a Thai whore in the
What? Oh, that's it. I give up. No more. I'm gone. I'm leaving. This, the debate, the vice presidency, and the starship you rode in on.
How can you get upset at that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
You know, it's a little piece of plastic.
It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon toy. You know, well, it's the same thing. Like Jeff Dunham says the most god awful things, but it's the puppets that say it, and he's actually embarrassed by it. He's like, oh God, you know, stuff will happen.
And we have a character like that. That's the voice of the audience. Is you can't say
that.
And we do anyways.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it so funny is you're not expecting it, and I expected to just get slammed, but those first couple years we had a hell of an audience. This was back when you had to be invited by YouTube to become a partner,
right?
That you could that you could start advertising on your channel and things like that, and we had thousands and thousands of people. We were international. We had a Glasgow fan club,
right?
You know?
I know I have the Glasgow vote in the bag. Hello, boys.
You can count on us. She's so beautiful.
That was sort of one of the turning points in my life where I look back and wonder what might have been, because that at around 2007, 2008 was when we went into the Innocent Saga, and I put War Dawgz on hold.
Yeah.
And it was never really the same after that. And I often wonder what would have happened if I would have stuck with it, releasing it every an episode a week. But I don't. But even then, coming back after 4 years and trying to finish season 4, I look back and go, could I do a season 5? And it is. I do get. I don't know how people like South Park do it, because it is sort of like, could I do another season? Where do I get the material from? But of course, I can look around me, and I'm sure once I start putting pen to paper, I could. But it is daunting. It is like, well, can I live up to the way the War Dawgz was?
Well, and also some of the character voice actors. I mean, I do a couple of them. In fact, I did the one that I didn't realize I'd done that one time. It was some Bob or something.
Yeah, you voiced it. You were doing.
I was doing Admiral Price, and just right in the middle, Bob was supposed to say something, and I just threw something in there just to continue on the scene, to keep my momentum going, and you ended up using it.
Corporal Lothar and Ensign Vish. Hi, how you doing?
And of course, I remember watching it, and there's a little, how you doing? And I had no idea that was me. I was like, who was that? And Brent's like, I did that? It's like, Jeff, you have this great memory, except for this. Do you just shut the brain off? And I was like, I do not know what is happening there. I have no idea. I do not understand it myself, But everyone I've shown War Dawgz, the reactions are, they vacillate between two different, it's either, what the hell, or oh my God, I can't, and you get those. There's a lot of those oh my God moments, like the sex tape. I remember Amanda talking about the sex tape, and I remember there's a what? She's like, it's a Lego sex tape, and no. Yep, Lego sex tape, and of course, Froggy's got the same reaction.
Oh, that's the adventure of hot, lusty babes who like sucking Chinese. That's one of my personal favorites.
How I come up with this stuff, I don't know. I just let it. It's just a stream of consciousness thing. It's like how whacked out, and there is nothing that's too stupid. Mm-mm. Nothing that's too zany. Nothing that's too crazy. if it sounds ridiculous, it needs to be in an episode. And we also homage other things that we're fans of. The Star Trek stuff, the Star Trek 2.
Yes, the body of Commander Weston will be laid to rest in 1800 hours. We'll be flying over the volcanic world of Jed Hollow when he shall be launched overboard. Just like what they did with Spock in Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. Is terribly moving. The bagpipes. Definitely the finest of Star Trek films, I say.
You know, that I'll get, some people will go over their
Battlestar
heads, other
Galactica.
people catch it. Yeah, the whole
Well, you
season.
did a Battlestar Galactica thing one time.
A spoof open.
A spoof open.
Piano type thing. And this isn't just I don't mean to toot my own horn. That's some of the best writing, best comedy writing I've seen in my life. I mean, that is great comedy stuff. And even when you get some dry performances, like there's some voice actors who aren't the best, but even though the ones that are just, oh my God, just hit it out of the park. And because I get to manipulate every aspect of that. Yeah. If the timing's not, because you guys are never in the same room, you just feed me the line, you just send me the lines. Yeah. And it's gotten to the point where I just email the lines out and you guys email them back. And I cut them all together. I put I make sure the timing, and I've got to wait for that 1, 2, 3. That's when he says the line. And I get to manipulate it that fine a detail, as opposed to being on camera, where you can't always do that. You can't, once it's on film, it's on film. I can't really tweak too much. And just the shock of being able to see things in Lego that you wouldn't expect to see in Lego, like sex tapes and giant bunnies out of nowhere. And and there are a lot of
Bogey was in there one time.
Bogey was in there.
Bogey, 9 o'clock.
No, that's okay. He's with us. Good boy. Good boy.
You're a good boy. Who's a good boy?
Bogey, 9 o'clock. And I remember when we were doing one of the first seasons, we wanted him to come in and destroy the little city that we had. Yeah. But he was such a tame dog.
He's like, no.
Yeah. He's
come here, Bogey. And he kept going around it.
Yeah, well, we threw treats trying to get him to eat people and attack it with the treats, and he'd be like, just real softly putting his feet in there.
He's like, eh. And you're like, Bogey, destroy it. He's like, no, eat the Lego. He's like, it's like, okay, your dog is not nearly destructive enough, Brett. What's wrong with you? And he's like, he's a good dog. What do you want me to do with him? Who's a good boy? I've never had, of the things I've had to do for you, War Dogs is my favorite. Now, and I remember one time we had the interview with Jake, and I did not know what to expect. My first time I met a whole bunch of some of the people, and Jake and some other guys, and we were doing something else, and I didn't realize that people were actually into the show like the way they were. People were sending me questions, and I thought he was just, at first I thought the questions he was asking were just questions he was asking. No, people were sending those to him. And he's like, no, we get these from people. Email these, and people message these, and says, why is this, why that? And I'm like, wait, there's people watching this stupid stuff that we're doing, and he's like, hey, there's people in Scotland watching this. There's people in Scotland watching this. Don't they have something else to do? Apparently not. There were so many times you would tell me, well, I mean, you came up with Admiral Frenchie just by saying, I want you to say this, but in German. I'd like you all to welcome your new Rear Admiral, Admiral Frenchie. Willkommen! All right, and Admiral Frenchie was born because you just needed an extra character. Yeah. And just make him everything he says German. We're going to call him Admiral Frenchie.
Und in anderen Sprachen, Walmart hat eine neues was machen. Und es sagt, alle Kinder, die verloren sind zu der Circus gestört.
And then current events will happen. I remember when Howard Dean, right? Was
Yeah.
Howard Dean had that "Hi-ya!"
in 2004.
And it was like, oh, dude, we got to do this with Frenchie.
Wir gehen zum California, wir gehen zum Texas, wir gehen zum New York und South Dakota, wir gehen zum Oregon und Washington und wir gehen zum Michigan und dann gehen wir zurück zum Washington DC und wo gehen wir aus mit der weißen Hose? Yeah!
But yeah,
and people are like, that sounds familiar. Where is that from? What is he saying?
It sounds like he's saying something about the States.
About the States? Because he keeps talking about North Carolina? I don't understand. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, that's what, and then we evolved into War Dogs News.
Yeah.
And that's where some of my debating came in because that's reporting.
That's reporting.
I would delve into the research and we would have Froggy do this rant. We'd do like a couple short stories and then we'd have Froggy just rant.
That's right, mother. They want to start using those light bulbs that look like really curly pubic hairs.
Yeah.
And I would sit there and research all of this stuff and make sure I got my facts right.
Don't believe me? Go check it out for yourself.
And that was the first time I ever got censored from. It was a Froggy rant that I got censored on because we were talking about the WGA, the Writers Guild, went into strike. And somebody bitched about one of those episodes. So I think there's like the original release was episode 1 and 3 because 2 got banned. So that was my first strike on YouTube ever. Was a Froggy rant about the Writers Guild strike, and it was I know exactly who it was too. I mean, it was a commenter, and I was arguing with the commenting, and I quoted him on like episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't like that I called him out, and
Pussy.
so I got banned, or that episode got censored and cut. But you can still see it on notsosane.com because you. But there's something to be said about offending people.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about how in Russia, there's that lack of humor.
Soviet Union back in the day, yeah.
And it's important to be able to laugh and joke and make fun of things too. In essence, it may seem over exaggerated, but it's so true. To maintain your freedom, your liberty.
One of the things...
Comedy is essential to that.
Jeff Dunham was talking about him again with Ahmed. Okay. After September 11th, within a year or two, Ahmed the Dead Terrorist shows up. And I could only imagine sometimes him thinking to himself, because he's probably coming up with material and he thinks it's hilarious because he's got a twist. He's a Jeff. We're f***ed up. But then one of the things he said was, one of the things about Americans that makes us unique is our innate ability to laugh in the face of disaster. Americans have always, and he's right, Americans have always had a kind of a twisted sense of humor about the world in general. Soldiers in particular, we have a horribly fucked up sense of humor. You also find firemen, policemen, paramedics have a twisted sense of humor because of the stuff they see and the stuff you go through. And so the way we deal with that is with humor. The way we deal with it is by laughing and making fun of the condition, the human condition, or the condition that we are in which we are living. Now, a lot of the things, there's some comedy stations, I can't remember one's called GITV, or I think that's what it is where it's there's little commercials and programs and things they do, but it's horribly offensive to people who aren't in the military. I talked about, there was an interview that a girl did, and she found it horribly offensive, and it was because she's a little piece of yuppie from California, and so she takes this commercial, and the commercial was twisted. It was basically a neck brace for women of veterans, so when they wake up choking her in the morning, she won't die, And it's horrible, but it's hilarious, because we're fucked up. And well, she takes this thing that she thinks is just too over the line and blah blah blah, because it's about beating women and it's not funny, and she takes it to these female soldiers and she plays it for them. And one of them almost spit out her beer. One of them fell off the chair, and she's like, "This is funny to you?" And the one girl was like, "Oh, yeah, that is hilarious. Are you kidding me? With the way she just sitting there, he's like, ah, you know? And the girl's like, well, why do you find it funny? And one girl says, none of your business. And that was one of the cool things about it, is one girl told her, it's like, look, you've never been there. You've never done this. You've never been a part of this world. So don't tell me how I deal with my trauma is wrong. Or that you don't like it, so it shouldn't be there, because this is my world. This is the world in which I live in. If you don't like it, get the out. And I remember just sitting there going, I want to marry that chick right there. That's awesome. And that's kind of the same thing I feel about War Dogs. Look, this is our world. This is the way we do. This is how we laugh at these things. Jeff Dunham had Alchemy of the Dead terrorists, so we can laugh at these things. So the terrorists can be scared, cut off, we're going to infidel, blah, blah, blah. And we have a guy with a puppet who's Ahmed, the dead terrorist, and we're laughing at them. That is who we are, and that is the essence of freedom. Okay, the Soviet Union wasn't allowed to laugh at things because of the stories, the jokes, whatever they would tell. We'll get them thrown in the gulag because they're talking bad about the whatever. I can talk about Joe Biden being a douchebag dumbass who can't find his own dick in the dark with both hands and a flashlight. Okay, I can talk about President Trump being an egotistical orange man who needs to lay off the spray tan and lay off the Twitter. Okay, but that's the thing. I can say that, President Clinton needs to, find some goddamn way to keep his dick under control and get rid of that gorilla that he married. Because we can do that. We can laugh at those people. We can laugh at the leaders. We can laugh at ourselves. We can laugh at the situations. That's who we are. Okay? War Dogs is one of those things where you have these situations, you have these up things, you have the stuff we talk about, and we laugh at it. And it's hilarious because it's irreverent. And it's terrible. And no, we're not actually saying that we should kill Jews. No, we're not actually saying that sex tapes or something. No, we're not actually saying that. But that's the part that makes the humor. It's funny because it is irreverent. It is out of control. It is beyond normal.
Oh my God, nothing this bitch slapped the hot chick.
It's also our way of remembering things like the atrocities that happen and not forgetting it and keeping it part of our history.
Right.
It's our way of dealing with our own stress, like you said, our own traumas, things that have happened to us. But it's also our necessity to, sometimes get a message across. Mm-hmm. There's just so much involved in those shows. That's just so funny to begin with.
Yeah.
And it's our way to criticize things. It's our way to stand up for something. It's our way to just laugh. And there's something magical about it. I mean, even some of the outtakes make it into the show.
Right.
Some of the funniest moments are I'm just like, okay, you're in a battle zone. You're in a war. You're in a dogfight. Make some noises, and people just improvise stuff, and I just, let's take this snippet here. They said this, and let's put this in there.
We are now fenced in with 2 heaters and gun. We are hot on target. I am right on his tail. Off! Copy that, we are 5x5.
I would never say a bad word about that. I would never apologize for that series because it is true humor. And if people don't get it, then I feel sorry for them because I can't tell you the amount of joy. This is just rewatching something. I can't remember what it was. It was just a line.
What's with the hook for the hand?
You got chopped off by the mean lady.
Yeah, I know, but didn't you get your head chopped off too?
Yeah, but they fixed that.
It's just so ridiculous. That it's so ridiculous, it's ingenious.
Yeah.
And you don't see this stuff anywhere else. And that's what makes it so fun and shocking.
Absurdist humor has been fantastic for years. The slapstick weird shit that you'd see with Laurel and Hardy and Abbott and Costello. Even Will Rogers, who used to get up on stage and he'd pull out the papers. Well, all I know is what I read in the papers. And he'd go after just all the president and the Congress and what's going on and just weird things what happened, the human condition itself. And just how absurd can you get? How weird can you get?
Good job, Vincent.
It's a necessity. I think things like that keep people from becoming killers and racists and bigots and all that, because they can sit there and laugh at it and see how ridiculous it is on, you know, on a show like that.
Well, it's the idea that these little plastic things are doing this, whatever, is as ridiculous as, you know, a frog and a pig and a bear and a whatever running a theater somewhere. But yet the Muppets have been a part of our world for, what, 50 years? Mm-hmm. Sesame Street itself, a big bird and a snuffleupagus, and everyone's just hanging out with them, and it's all okay. It's ridiculous. But when you use the parts of your brain, the imagination and the ideas and the humor, and you put it all together, none of that matters. Because a character is a character. When you have a good character, it doesn't matter if it's a giant bird, or if it's a snuffleupagus, or if it's a whatever the hell Gonzo is. Those are fantastic characters, and that's what drives them forward. Well, you've got War Dawgz with this bizarre cast of characters that are basically little plastic toys that say and do the weirdest, most offensive horrible things. It's the same thing with like South Park. Since they're kids, they can say all these horrible things and it's all okay. Since your guys are plastic characters, they can say the most horrible things and it's all okay. And it's only those little birds that get butt hurt because, you know, their mommy didn't love them enough, or their daddy loved them too much, which is why they're in the writers' union. Who get butthurt about that stuff because, you know, his liberal education didn't allow him to understand humor, which is why Dave Chappelle has such trouble with lefties, but not everybody else. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you have a stick up your ass that, you know, your liberal education put there, well, okay, you're probably not going to enjoy, you know, War Dawgz. But if you're, you know, a normal human being who understands that things like South Park are important, things like The Simpsons are important, even things like Family Guy are important because they allow us to poke fun at others and ourselves, and we all sit around together and laugh. And we enjoy ourselves, we enjoy our company, and you're like, that's not me, but that's me. Yeah, that's terrible, but why am I laughing at that? And that's, I can't, he's not gonna, he did, you know. Those are the things that you do, that you see, that you hang out with, and you talk about the next day. Did you see what the hell so-and-so did? Did you see what friggin' Admiral Frenchie did to the guy from the Jewish Ligurian Press? Did you see what so-and-so did? And where the hell do you get a Lego sex tape, you know? Those are the things that make life worth living. Not specifically War Dawgz, although I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, but it's that ability to endure the human condition through humor. It makes everything so much better. The most horrible day can be better if you laugh. The most horrible occurrences can be better if you just sit and have a good memory and you just laugh. Or you laugh with friends and you hang out together and you laugh. I was like, that is the very, I think at the root of our humanity is to be able to deal with what happens, because life is so hard at times. But if you laugh, everything's better. It's one of the greatest gifts man has.
Some of the best moments, the best moments of my life are surrounded by laughter.
Yeah.
And for someone to come around and try to take my laughs away from me, that.
Yeah.
You know, that's a tyranny I can't stand.
Well, you know, that's what Stalin did. Stalin and Lenin did so very well. Stop doing that.